The Wild West, I believe it was last year or possibly the year before, we put out a press release where we said, go west. That's where the action seemed to be. We put a hole down quite a ways to the west out towards the county road to test a target that our geophysicist felt represented a intrusive stock at depth. That hole came back with a long length of mineralization.
73.2 meters of 1.48 grams per ton gold. And it also included a couple small intercepts, 4.6 meters of 4.97, and then 1.52 meters of 11 grams. And again, this was in an area where no previous historical drilling, kind of in no man's land, and it hit high grade and it hit oxide.
And what was very unusual with that hole was that there was quite a significant length of dolomite, which was well mineralized. And this is the first time we've seen that. Generally, the dolomite does not mineralize well, but this did. So that was a shocker.
Over half of the mineralization in that hole was in dolomite. What does this mean? Are we closer to a strong heat source, a plumbing source that's really strongly disseminating this gold into this Paleozoic carbonate basement? So this was kind of an eye-opener and something that was kind of cool and unique, because now we've got three different styles. You've got your silica breccias on your unconformity, you've got your intrusive rocks, and now you have potential for large swaths of, Paleozoic basement that can hold decent grade of over a gram.
So we offset it to the south with Hole 83. The thing comes back and it really opens your eyes.
42.7 meters of 4.67 grams. This includes 18.3 meters of 7.94 grams per ton gold.
What is going on out here? What is giving us this type of strong high-grade gold mineralization? Is a great high-grade core in this last hole.
This is just one example of a hole that was put down well west of our West Atlanta Fault number 2. Now, the importance of the West Atlanta Fault number 2 is that it is the west bounding fault of our West Atlanta Graben zone. Prior thinking was everything past the West Atlanta Fault number 2 stops. There's not much mineralization there. Well, we have essentially about 11 holes down in the Wild West target now, many of which are coming back with high-grade intercepts up to 11 grams per ton. Clearly, mineralization is continuing to the west, and now it's, again, how far to the west? We keep saying everything's open in every direction. Well, we keep proving that, and it keeps going.
Now that's opened up a whole new target area for us that we didn't know about before. These holes coming back like this are just shockers for us. So there was no real indication of anything like that over there from the historical drilling. In fact, the historical drilling was pretty negative. The fact that we've tapped into this high grade in hole 83, that this amounts to a new discovery out here. There was no indication of this from previous data.
Some of this stuff we need to keep drilling, even though historic holes don't show any kind of life. If we do a twin by a historic hole and drill deeper, 9 times out of 10, we hit mineralization. Now, we do have some holes well off to the west, put down by historic operators that went into basement rock at much shallower depth, which shows that we have an upthrown horst block. This is actually good in a couple scenarios. This shows that if we can track mineralization to an uplifted block, okay, well, now we're back in the game with more shallow mineralization. If we can find it, we can track it.
We've now have several holes in that we can tie together to make what's called the Wild West zone. It's about 100, 150 meters wide, about 500 meters long. It's a north trending graben, just like the West Atlanta graben is. The fact that the grade continuity is good within that mineralization, it's again, relatively flat mineralized body. And with that grade that we hit in this last hole, we've got room in here now to put a fair amount of high grade material. We're going to be drilling an additional 4 recon holes along that graben axis to see if we can't track it down to the south. There's pretty good lateral continuity between the holes. We had other holes in there too. We just didn't know that they connected to this zone. These are further to the north. We put them down at the southwest corner of what we call the NET, or the North Extension Target, to try to tie our extension target zone into the main Atlanta resource zone. Now, we hit two anomalous holes there that were very much out of place with respect to the rest of the North Extension target holes that we drilled. They appeared to be something very different, but we just didn't know why they were different. And it wasn't until we put 69 down on that geophysical anomaly, at that point we could see, oh, this mineralization in 69 has similarities with what we put in those two holes north of the county road. Those seem to tie together. That seems to show us another north-south trend to another mineralized zone. We've discovered a new type of mineralization out there that hadn't been seen before. And now it's a matter of trying to see where this is going to take us to. Then how many other places are like this out there that no one knows about, that are waiting to shock us? That's where we're at now, is trying to figure out what to do with these things. How are we going to chase them down? And where are we going to find similar things? So this now prompts us to go back through all of our geophysical work again and reevaluate the anomalies and say, what else do we have sitting out here which has a very similar signature to it? This gets back to this interplay between geophysics, intrusive dominated mineralization, and hidden targets. Where are we going to put more of these things? When you get holes like this coming back, it looks like we've got another mineralized zone here that could be related to that hypothetical intrusive that the geophysical anomaly seems to represent. And therefore, we might have another mineralized zone sitting out there deeper down that, has never been tapped into. So it's holes like this that open a door for additional expansion now further to the west, to the southwest, possibly to the northwest, into areas that have not been explored.